feel many of atmosphere in the second half for the simple reason that we get this phone switched off. It's now starting to rain. The toilets here are not so busy, but there are still small queues. Basically, the police are in attendance here. It's the end of the jolly old. It's the end of the jolly old contest. As far as Poland's concerned, Poland's going home. Thankfully, they already are home, so they don't have far to go. Lost against the Czechs 1-0, and the upbeat, the Guantanamera song that you keep on hearing, used to be red and white. These are colours that have never been beaten yet in this contest, yeah? Because there was one draw and one, well, there were always draws. There weren't any wins, there were just draws. Which means, you know, we've never been beaten yet is what they were singing. Now, of course, they did get beaten. So they're definitely out, they're not going through to the next round. And of course that means that some of them are still singing the same thing, as though they're not acknowledging the fact that they have been defeated. But most of them are singing now, nic się nie stało. Nic się nie stało. It means it doesn't matter. So they're saying, okay, well, we are defeated, but nothing happened, doesn't matter. We're still us, you know, and we're still with the team, etc. But obviously the disappointment is immense. Coming out of the central area now, everybody's now walking away from the central fan zones and areas, and some of the people living on this side of Warsaw are now going to be walking back across the bridge. Of course, on the other side of the bridge we're now going to have the defeated Russians and the victorious Greeks coming back in this direction, mainly because most of the hotels are over here. So here's another chance for the Poles and the Russians to meet each other, both in a foul mood. So this could be the flashpoint of the contest, effectively. And we'll see what happens in a minute. Those ones are singing Nic się nie stało, which is nothing happened. We stand for friendship of nations. Right, I shall preserve the filming opportunities in the battery. More battery life than film life, because I can always, if I see film life going away, I can turn it down to a lower thingamajig than HD. Even though it's night, I'll keep it on HD because everything else has been on HD. I don't want to really have a different format starting to appear in the same series. Blimey, there's one of the ladies from Sogo nightclub appeared just in a very short. Several of the ladies of Sogo nightclub have appeared in their very short trousers there on the outside to show their solidarity with the team. That's quite something for you, Victor. There you go. They're actually coming out to join the club, to join the crowd. There's something nice for you, Victor. So the majority of the female fans walking down the street aren't quite at the same quality of those two, unfortunately. But they're out there, I suppose, advertising the club. They're standing there like that. It's going to make some of the fans going down there, especially in a mood where they feel as though they want to wash their troubles away and their cares away, they might well decide to go into SOGO, the go-go, and do it. And they shall be milked, no doubt, for every penny. And I don't feel all that much sympathy for them. If they go in there, then they know what to expect. Right, as I say, I'll preserve it until there's something worth filming comes along. Okay, you probably recognise. He just sang "fuck the police" at the police, and he sang it again. Okay, so there's the police. And they're here probably largely because they have worked out, like me, this is where the flashpoint's likely to be. Looks like I'm not the only one with a strategic mind around here. Anyway, it's not so difficult to work out because all you need to do is look at the coverage of the vandalism and hooliganism, well, not really vandalism but hooliganism, aggro, and one of the worst positions where there was the most fighting and throwing was exactly by this green thing here. Yeah? Right here where I'm standing now and walking now is where the biggest problem actually happened. You just saw that guy there has obviously covered his face with a mask. He looks like an aggro merchant, the guy that turned around and looked at the camera then a second ago. So some of the police, as you can see, some of the police are men, but then amongst them, you can't actually tell within their large bulky uniforms who's who, but amongst the men are also women police standing alongside the males and fighting with them. Once they got all their uniforms on and everything, hard to tell the difference, but you could definitely see that that one there was female. They're back there, before we even get onto the bridge, I suppose. What are they going to do? That's not the... Oh, here's more down there, underneath the bridge, looking at that area. But the scary bit is actually when you get onto the bridge proper, the bit behind this, when the difference between the, as I've said before, I don't want to get boring, the difference between the altitude on the bridge and the altitude of the ground below and everything happening below gets to its larger extent. That's the scary bit, because people go flying off the sides, which we don't want to happen. That's an interesting raincoat. Lots of people going in both directions. You've got the people coming up back off the National Stadium, as I predicted, and people who've been on the fan zone going home on that side. So you've got people coming up and down on both sides. People crossing each other over the Vistula Bridge. And of course some of them are going to be like this guy in Russia colours. They've got subdued moods, that's for sure. As Russia was also beaten tonight, the Poles might feel a bit more sympathetic towards them. Although I think Russia will go forward anyway, since they had some good, victory. They had a very good victory against the Czechs, drew against the Poles and lost against the Greeks, which is surprising. Somebody's called this the calm before the storm, which is, if you remember, just in my right ear there, which now I don't know whether he was referring to the weather, because it's actually spotting. I don't know if anything's going on the little lens here, but it is actually starting to rain. I'm what I call 10% wet. So a lot of Russian fans coming up wearing the tri-coloured hats. More people now coming up than going down at this point. A little bit later on it will be more people coming down this way than going up that way. But for the time being we're at the point where you've got more people coming in the other direction towards me. Largely Russians. There's more Russians than Greeks here. Well, I suppose there's more Russians than Greeks in the world, and certainly the Russians can afford it more than the Greeks at the moment. Although knowing the Greeks, that's not likely to stop them. But definitely I see a lot of Greeks. Sorry, I see a lot of Russians. Somebody's wearing SSSR, which isn't allowed in Poland. Someone wearing the British flag. That's always nice to see. Britain, of course, isn't playing in the competition, but England is. Oh, and there's some lightning. Is that a portent of what's about to happen on the ground? This is the question. Polacy nic się nie stało. Somebody's already put on their Polacy nic się nie stało t-shirt. Nothing happened, nothing's a matter. Evidently half expecting the defeat of tonight, and therefore bringing with him a t-shirt which said nothing happened. So it looks as though they've possibly let the Russians out ahead of the Greeks, because now I see only Russians and no Greeks. Maybe, well, these might be Greeks, but and I mean I see far more Russian people coming up, or Russian ticket hold, Russian or people in Russian colours, put it that way. I don't see anybody really coming up with Eladas and what have you on them. There are lots of people wearing Russian insignia with the word Russia on their clothes and scarves. But the mood is not fantastic. Then anyway, I would have thought, you know, they can take it as in a balanced view, because I mean you can't win everything. Whereas Poland had 2 draws and a loss. Russia had a win, a draw and a loss. So Russia's still better off than Poland at the moment. Okay, better keep some back.